Why don't all Airbnb hosts hire professional house cleaners? Oh, that is a great question, and we're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is sponsored by housecleaning360.com. And if you are an Airbnb host or a vacation rental by owner, and you change your mind, and you don't want to do it yourself anymore, you can find house cleaners on housecleaning360.com. And it's a great resource for you because you can also find gutter cleaning and landscapers and carpet cleaners and window washers and a whole bunch of other partners that partner with Airbnbs and vacation rental business owners. Okay, so the reality is, and this goes back to a question from a house cleaner who's trying to get into the Airbnb space and keeps running into Airbnb owners who are like, no, we do our own cleaning. And she wants to know, why don't all Airbnb owners or hosts hire professional house cleaners? All right, well, the reality is this. Some of them are just getting started in the business. And as they're getting started in the business, in order to be competitive across the board, they've had to bring the rates of their rooms down per night. Now, in Airbnb, if you're new to the concept, it's people renting rooms of their house out. Instead of other people going to a hotel, they would come stay at your house. So it's like couch surfing, but at a professional level. So you are opening your own little bed and breakfast, except you might still live there. If you still live there, you have a room or two that you're renting. Now, another alternative is a vacation rental by owner, similar concept, but you're renting out the entire house. So the reality is, if you drop the price of the nights down so that you are lower than a hotel, right now there may be off seasons. And in the city you live in, the hotel nights might be $69 a night, which is super cheap. And so if you're going to compete with that, you might have to come down to $59 a night. And so if you have a 2-night minimum, you're talking about $120 that you're going to make off of a customer that comes and stays with you. So $120, and then you have a house cleaner that says, oh, I have a $100 minimum for my cleaning. So is the Airbnb owner, and you have to ask this question realistically, are they going to open up their home and be there at a certain time and make everything nice and special and have little gifts and trinkets and create this ambiance and do all this stuff for the host and deal with the ratings and reviews and the customer service and the complaints and all of that stuff, only to make $20 for the stay because they've turned around and given $100 of that to the cleaning person? The reality is, no, they're not. So there are Airbnb hosts that have decided they themselves will do the cleaning because their profit margin is not high enough that it merits hiring an outside company to come in. And so that is the biggest reason right there. The next reason is quality control, because there are a lot of house cleaners, and as you know, in the industry there is no standard of house cleaning. And so some house cleaners are superb at what they do, and some are very sloppy, and you just don't know who you're hiring. And so if somebody comes in and says, well, I'll do this for $25, are you hiring the sloppy guy, or are you hiring the spectacular company that just has super low prices? It's hard to know. And so if you take a risk on someone and somebody comes in and they clean for you, what happens now is you still have to come in after they've cleaned, and you have to do a walkthrough of the entire premise that the hotel guest is going to be staying at, because you have to make sure that they weren't sloppy and that they didn't leave something or skip something in the process. And so that requires time and energy for them to come back and double check your work. They might as well do it themselves, and then they know they did it right the first time. So there's a quality control issue. There are also Airbnb owners who like to meet the guests. And it's one of the secrets of being a superhost. If you meet the guest and they see you face to face, now they have a face to put with that property. And you can share short stories of how you built the place and what it means to you. And in your description online, there should already be that in your breakdown about what your house means to you and why it's so special. But if you get a chance, you can do that in person, face to face. Now, the guests that are staying with you feel like, oh, I really like this person. They're so cool. And so I want to give them a 5-star rating, and I want to come back and I want to stay with them next time I'm in this town. And so you create this alliance with your Airbnb guests. So by hiring a house cleaner that's going to come and let the person in, it kind of takes something away from that. So they don't get the direct feedback of a customer coming in for the first time and seeing the place and going, oh, wow, this is so beautiful. Oh, check out that view, right? So now you know as an Airbnb host that the view is really important to the customers. Or the customer may come in and go, wow, look at that widescreen TV. Now you're like, oh yeah, kudos for me buying the big TV. So they get that immediate feedback from the customers that may never show up on a rating and review. And that is one of the reasons that they don't hire a professional house cleaning company. So if you're trying to break into that space and you are a professional house cleaning company, my suggestion would be you have to follow Airbnb listings. You have to know in your area what people are charging. What is the going rate for a night? Because your cleaning price has to come in well under that in order for you to get the consistent turnover business. Now, turnover business is where a customer leaves and you have to reset the place for the next person that's checking in. And so if somebody has a 2-night minimum, it's possible you would clean the same place 3 times in the course of a week. And so you have to figure out, I'm going to be making this amount of money 3 times this week if I get this account. And sometimes it's only 2 times a week, sometimes it may only be once a week. But you have to figure out your pricing so that it's fair to the Airbnb owner who has to play fair across the board with everyone else in their market that's competing with them, and also the hotels. Because they're not just competing with other Airbnbs, they're also competing with hotel prices. Because we all know that for so much money, and there's a magic number, I don't know what it is, people are willing to spend the night. And so if they're looking for cheap, they're going to be looking for something that's less than the regular hotel prices. So if the price is not fair to the Airbnb owner, they're not going to hire you, no matter what. They're just not. And they will force themselves to do the cleaning. Now, there are Airbnb hosts that get to a certain moment in their life. They're like, this is a lot of cleaning. I can't do this 3 times a week or, once a week or whatever. And then they do hire a company. But that's usually after they've built their business, they've got their ratings and reviews. They know exactly how long it takes. They're very specific about what they're looking for. Then they hire a cleaning company and they want you to become their partner. And the partner means they can count on you under all circumstances. You're not a fly-by-night where, I can clean this time and I can't clean next time. They're looking for somebody that can come in and do this on a regular basis, which is one of the reasons why Airbnb owners have a tendency not to hire professional house cleaning companies. They hire individuals. They hire stay-at-home moms whose kids are in school during the day who can come over. The mom has to be there when the kids leave in the morning. They got to be there when the kids get off the bus. But the mom can be there from noon when checkout happens all the way up until 2:30 when she turns the place over to the next person. The next person comes in at 3 o'clock. And then they'll use something like a lockbox, or the owner will come back over and make sure that the guest is let in. So they will train a mom, or they will train a student or an actor or somebody like that doesn't have a whole full-fledged cleaning business just to come in and on a retainer fee. And it might be one flat fee for the entire month, whether it's 3 cleanings a week or whether it's 1 cleaning a week. They will just, for a flat fee, hire a person that says, hey, I know I can count on this extra $500 a month if I come in however many times they need me. And then that person just stays at their house on the days they're not needed. Then when they're called over, they just run over and they clean the house. It might take 2.5 hours. So that's typically what happens when the Airbnb owner is getting ready to outsource the cleaning because it's become too much for them. All right, so that's kind of how that works. Until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.